Today on Atomic Mushroom, we will be doing a review on the Super Robot Mach Baron Jumbo Machinder by Bandai. Let's unwrap this monster and see what's inside the box. Now that's a big box. Over 24 inches tall. That's because it is made to house the big red badass Mach Baron robot. Anyway, as you can see, everything in there has Japanese graphics, and my son takes advanced Japanese in high school, and he's pretty much translated this for me. And you know, it isn't anything that you're gonna really want to know, because it's pretty obvious. It'll say Mach Baron and, you know, stuff like that. So anyway, let's move on, and let me show you the side details of the box. It is a very substantial box, a lot thicker walled, and unlike the older boxes, this will most likely hold its shape throughout many years. And as you can see there, they have awesome graphics, and I have to tell you, if these were being sold in places like Toys R Us or the like, you as a kid would probably bug your parents to no end to get you one of these. All the graphics is definitely made to entice people, both young and old, to get one. And here's a quick shot of the side. Man, this thing has to be manhandled. It is so big and heavy. And there's a great shot of the Mach trigger, piloted by Yu Arashida himself, the pilot of the Mach Baron. All right, now let's break this bad boy out of this box. And with the box top off, this is basically your first glimpse at the Mach Baron. You get your basic pamphlet, and as you can see, the robot comes packaged, completely braced and protected with inner boxes and inserts to protect all the components. And now we'll move on to removing the robot out of its box. Man, that is a striking robot toy right there. Bandai really knocked it out the park when they reissued all of these Jumbo Machinders. The quality, I have to say, and I don't know, because maybe it's just because it's new, but the quality seems a lot higher than the original. And you know, I will speak more of that in a bit, but right now I need to get this one big issue out of the way, and it's quite a disappointing thing for me to find out, because these things aren't really cheap. And that is, look at that. My robot was packed with two right-handed fists. Now, I don't know about you, but if you have one that's still sealed, or you've gotten your order and you haven't checked it out, now might be the time to do that, because I'm not sure how prevalent that is. I have contacted Big Bad Toy Store and Bandai directly, and hopefully they can make this right. Now, having said that, it isn't a super deal breaker. I don't see myself returning this, because I know how hard it is to get and how the prices are already skyrocketing in the secondary market. But you know, thank goodness it came with an alternate set of fists that was packed correctly. But aside from that, I still think that the figures itself, barring the mistake that the Packers did, doesn't really take away from the overall quality. Now that maybe they have some, packing control issues, but aside from that, I think it's still a pretty good toy. We'll cover a little history about the Super Robot Mach Baron. Now, this character was originally a tokusatsu TV series that was aired in Japan in 1974 to 1975. About 26 episodes, I believe. And it was by Koichi Takano. And the story basically is about this young man, Yu Arashida, that was the pilot of the Mach Baron. As a young man, or as a boy, he was orphaned during a terrorist attack that killed both his parents, and as he was growing up, excuse me, his grandfather trained him to eventually pilot the Super Robot, which was kind of hilarious if you've ever watched the series, because his father basically used all kinds of torture to train the poor guy into becoming a pilot. And he pilots this fabulous car called the Mach Trigger, which we'll be covering in a moment here. And this show was actually a sequel to another giant robot that was red called the Red Baron. And I have both DVD sets, and if you like shows like Ultraman or Ultra 7, you will love this series. It's campy, just like those older shows, and just like any other Japanese tokusatsu series of the time. But that is the charm, and I think it still holds true today. Otherwise, we really wouldn't be here today talking about these old school robots being reissued. And as you can see, they are timeless in design. And as you know, here in both my channels, as well as the Atomic Mushroom channel, we love and know our robots. Anyway, we will move on to the next segment, where we cover the functions and comparisons to the vintage original Mach Baron Jumbo Machinder. Now, unfortunately, I do not own the original Mach Baron Jumbo Machinder. And that's because if you've ever looked in the secondary market for the original vintage Mach Baron Jumbos, you'll understand why. Anyway, I have seen and handled the original Mach Baron Jumbo, and from what I can remember, this one seems a lot more redder and more opaque, if you know what I mean. Like the colors, there's something a little translucent about the original, even though the wall thickness of the original robot was substantial, because those aren't like cheap toys, and nor is this one. And this one feels like it even has even thicker walls on the plastic. It's the same type of plastic, the polypropylene or shampoo bottle type of plastic, which is a must if you want to consider something as a Jumbo Machinder type robot toy. And to compare this to the older one, this has many improvements. One of which is the launching fist, which the original never had. I don't want to launch the fist right now. I don't want to risk damaging anything right now because it launches hard. This definitely is not marketed for little kids, even though I think back in the day they had the same strength springs. So watch your kids if they're playing with this, because they you know, if you got conked on the eye directly, you're gonna feel it. Anyway, the original, you can detach the arm from here to this point. You can remove it and pretend it's like a rocket punch, you know, feature. And what I like about what Bandai did to all of their jumbo releases is the addition of these orange translucent studs that sort of mimic like fire. So even if you just want to you know, play around and pretend it's just launching, there's that simulated, you know, fire effect there, which is neat. And another thing too is a lot of the detail on these new reissues are unlike the original in that they're printed on. In the original, this band is a sticker, and I'm not entirely sure if the silver band had even any detail in it, but this has these yellow details that are printed on. And I believe on the original fist, this was also a decal, which negates any possibility of having this cutter feature of showing up. As well as that's also repeated on the belt. On original belt, these details were all decals. Here it's actually a plastic piece that's been chromed with red background paint. And these details here, these are printed on. All of that, and the connecting point seems to be more positive and substantial. You can see there. And here's another shot of the back of the head. Now, speaking of the head, the original had a missile rack that was molded in on the side of the heads that held those classic jumbo Machinder missiles that we all know and love from the Shogun Warriors and the Poppy releases. Even though the original robot didn't have any missile launching features, at least not to my knowledge. I'm probably wrong with that because, and here's another detail: the panel, the chest missile panel on the original never had these covers. This is an alternate cover that can also launch if you wish via these buttons here. Now, going back to the missiles, that does look like it has the same missile tube cylindrical piece on the classic Shogun Warriors missiles. So maybe I'm wrong, but that is the original missile that's been reproduced here. So I'm thinking maybe the missile that was here could go here as well. That I'll have to experiment down the road. But yeah, this also launches pretty far, so they didn't dumb these things down. Normally for something like this, like on the Super 7 jumbos that they released, the springs on those are pretty weak. Anyway, again, here's a shot of the panel, and it goes in place of the missile if you're not using it, so you can have that really nice clean look. And again, here I've elected to put in the cutter missile hands. That's the alternate to the original, to the regular ones. And again, check your robots, guys. Make sure that they're packed with the correct left and right fist, instead of, like in my case, which is 2 right fists, or in your case it could be 2 left fists. If that's the case, hit me up. We'll do an exchange. Anyway, the set comes with 4 of these missiles and this piece right here, which we'll cover in the next segment. And finally, we get to Yu Arashida's Mach Trigger, the car that he pilots that docks into the Mach Baron super robot. Now, this is definitely a significant upgrade to the original, because not only do we have a boxed car that docks to the reissue Mach Baron, the original basically had a simple blow molded car that sort of resembled the car. It was freewheeling, and it had sticker details so that it has like windshield and things of that nature. But man, this one is an actual Matchbox like car. Now, it isn't die cast. It's actually, the body is actually a somewhat flexible PVC type plastic, and I say that because there was a little bit of kind of flexing right there, and I was trying to fix it, and the bottom just pops off. You can just pop that off, and you can probably heat the body up so that if it comes like that, where it's a little bit raised, you can heat it up so that it, goes back in shape. But anyway, it's a great upgrade, and it actually has a feature which is a basically a hinge right there at the wing to allow it to extend like that where it flies. The wing does fold, and it does dock into the foot, very much like how the originals did in the TV show, where Yu Arashida climbs in there, and somehow he gets transported across the robot to the chest or the head area where he pilots the robot. And guess what? It has a box of its own. And not to be confused with the actual die-cast version released for the Popanica line. That one is die-cast and has, I think, a little bit more features on it, as I would expect with the price. Anyway, that one is a slightly larger car than this, and I'm not sure if it can dock in there. It's very close, but it is larger. Because they did something similar to the Mazinger Z Jumbo, where they had a Popanica hover piloter that docked on Mazinga's head. Anyway, that's for another review. For now, we close this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like this type of content, please comment on the comment section, and I will review other jumbos, both vintage and new, that I have in my collection. Anyway, this is Robert DeCastro for Atomic Mushroom Toys and MacSog Adventure International, and I'll see you guys in the next video.